We're joined here today by our very special guest, Marc Mero. Marc, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. The fans want to know. The most submitted question that we've gotten for you is, what have you been up to of late since your departure from the professional wrestling industry?
Well, I've been doing personal training. I have a company out here in the Orlando area, Orlando, Florida, and it's called Lifetime Results, and I am a trainer that does super slow.
We usually do a chronological order, so I'm going to throw this question to you. What can you tell us about your boxing background?
My boxing, well, you're going way back. Back in the early 80s, I was an amateur boxer, and I won the New York State Golden Gloves, I won the Empire State Games, I won the AAU, and then I was a member of the USA boxing team. I had a record of 58-2 with 37 knockouts, 16 in the first round. So I'm pretty good at boxing.
Well, how did that develop into a career in professional wrestling?
Well, that's it's kind of a roundabout way, but it all started by I was sitting around with a bunch of friends watching TV. We were watching wrestling, and we were kind of just laughing and watching it. And I said to my buddy, I said, I can do this. And they all go, yeah, right, you're going to wrestle those big guys. I go, I'm telling you, I think I can do this. And I went to wrestling school, Malenko's wrestling camp in Tampa, Florida, run by Boris Malenko, who passed away, trained me. And I then started going up to Atlanta, Georgia, and just being the enhancement wrestler for WCW, the jobber.
Right.
Paycheck here and there, but then Dusty Rhodes saw me, and that's when the Johnny B. Bad character came about because of my resemblance at the time to Little Richard.
Yes, you said that, and that was actually going to be our next question. How did you enjoy the Johnny B. Bad character?
It was when they first gave it to me, it was a little tough because wearing all the makeup, but at that time, I was so poor in my life that they gave me a contract, and it was like I felt like a millionaire when they gave it to me. But at that point, you do anything to get into business. So if it was wearing a feather boa and pink eyeliner, what are you going to do? So I did it, but once I was with WCW for a while, I was able to kind of call more of my own shots, and I talked to Dusty about me dropping the makeup and just toning it down a bit,
Right.
I enjoyed that part of the Johnny Bad character towards the end, like 94 to 96 was a lot of fun.
Now, back in 1991, you were nominated and actually won the PWI Rookie of the Year award. So, how highly do you consider that on your honors list?
I thought it was a great honor. It was voted by the fans of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I thought it was a great honor that they recognized the character. My wrestling ability. So just starting out, it was a huge honor. And I'm actually looking at it on my wall in my memorabilia room right now.
Cool. Going.
I can see it right where I'm sitting.
Excellent. Going back to 1991 at the Great American Bash, this is actually the first time I had the opportunity to see you. You wrestled Brian Pillman. He was under the moniker of the Yellow Dog at the time. How did you enjoy working with Brian, and do you have any fond memories of him?
It was hot and cold. Brian, when he wants to be, could have been a top wrestler, but there's sometimes he, like many wrestlers don't give it their all, or if they're not happy with maybe the push they're getting or whatever. But Brian, we had a match years later at I think it was Fall Brawl.
Yes.
That was probably one of my better matches I've ever had. It was a 30-minute match with Brian Pillman, and it was just tremendous. He put 40 minutes after there was second to none. It was like a 4.5-star match or something. It was just unbelievable.
Now, to use a phrase that's often used, the match that seemed to pretty much put you on the map was the match against Sting in 91, the Clash of the Champions. What were your memories of working Sting?
Well, Sting actually, it was a nerve-wracking wrestling with one of the top guys right away. But, actually Sting and I became really good friends. Super human being. I really enjoy it. Sense of humor is unbelievable. A lot of people don't know that. He's got a great sense of humor. So he was always cracking me up.
They used some of your past in 1992 when you had a boxing match with Scotty Flamingo, who went on to be Raven. Memories of working with the guy that plays the Raven character.
I actually learned a lot from Scotty. He was real patient because I was brand new. I never wrestled before, and my first match was 1991. You know, and all of a sudden I'm thrown out and wrestling the top guys in the world in WCW. And I didn't really know what I was doing too much, but he was the guy that really kind of guided me. Helped me out a lot.
Excellent.
In 1993, WCW held the TV title tournament, and in that, of course, you defeated Chris Benoit in the opening round. Now, while you didn't end up winning the tournament, what were your memories of working with Chris, and are you surprised at how well he's doing now?
Oh, man, he's one of the true good guys. Him and Eddie Guerrero both. I couldn't be happier for those two guys. They're super human beings. They give so much sport, so much back to the fans. And honestly, there couldn't be two more well-deserving guys that deserve this title than them.
In 1994...
I learned a lot from Chris. Chris was a tremendous worker. He was very patient.
In 1994, you captured the WCW TV title, and the rumor on the internet, and from a recent interview conducted with Honky Tonk Man, is that Honky Tonk Man did not want to do the job for you, and that is why he left WCW. Any truth to this rumor, and what is the story behind it, if you can share it with us?
Yeah, from what I remember, it was true. He didn't want to do a job. And, you know, I mean, everybody's got their agendas, and, you know, at the time, it's like, damn, my guy's going to lose a job over it. I mean, lose income over not wanting to do something that is just storylines, you know?
Right.
It's crazy.
Was there any bad feelings there from you to him, or no?
No. I mean, you respect the guy for his, you know, what he wants to stand up for. If that's what he wanted to do, I mean, he obviously lost a lot of money by it. Who cares now, you know? Whether he won or I won, does someone actually really care right now? Why do you have enough money? It blows my mind.
Right.
Now, one of the superstars of WCW who was picked up when they went to the WWF, Diamond Dallas Page, he's just come out of retirement again. But what were your memories of working with DDP?
Oh man, I love working with Page. He is still to this day one of my good friends, and you know, he was just a real detail man. So the match, you know, was going to be very, very thought through, and it was going to be good. We had some good matches.
Now, during your tenure in WCW, you saw obviously a lot of your bosses, you know, come and go within the company, such as Eric Bischoff and Bill Watts and others that, you know, at the moment I can't think of. But did you ever have any confrontations or any butting of heads of any of the higher ups?
Not really. I mean, you know, you always a little nervous because it's when the captain of the ship changes, you know, and then there's always that, you know, we're coming in, we're making changes, things are going to be my way, this, that, and then nothing really changes, you know. You know, Bill Watts tried to come in as more of a strict disciplinarian. Some guys, you know, many of those veterans weren't used to that too much, so that didn't really fly too well. He didn't last too long. But, you know, somehow I survived those years until WWF gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. I was the first one to get a guaranteed contract at WWF.
Wow. Well, speaking of that, it seemed like there was virtually no time lapse between your time in WCW and the time in the WWF. What led to you leaving the WCW to go to the WWF?
There's a lot of, you know, a little arguing with me and Eric Bischoff on certain things. And, you know, then obviously when I talked to Vince, I realized that, you know, this guy's going to give me enough money and, you know, the possibility of working with my wife at the time, Sable, Rena, who came in as Sable, it gave me an opportunity to fulfill another dream of seeing her become in the business, which was, you know, instrumental in us together making an awful lot of money and really enjoying the time to be able to travel and do things with your wife.
When you first came into the WWF, you worked with one of the guys that many consider to be the best in the business today, Triple H. Any memories of working with Triple H?
That's right. He's really a good worker. I learned a lot from Triple H. We had some really good matches, and he's a guy that really dedicates himself to his craft.
To kind of tie in those two questions, of course, the angle that you came in with Triple H did center around Sable. Was it your decision to ask, Rena to come in, or was it Vince's idea, or was it?
No, that was my idea. I approached Vince when I signed my contract that she would, be with me.
Did he immediately just say yes to the idea, or?
Well, as soon as he saw her, he said yes.
Right.
Now, it's a slightly difficult question to ask, but of course the internet, will report everything that they can hear from left to right and everything in between. And the rumor, basically, regarding yourself and Rena, is that they say the two of you broke up over her decision to return to Vince last year. Would you like to care to address those rumors, or?
I try to keep that personal, but that really, I think anytime that you're separated from your spouse and they have to travel a lot, because obviously I wasn't traveling with Rena no more, I was taking care of our daughter at the time, and it certainly was more difficult not having her around anymore. And, but there was a lot of problems that built up to it. But, I want to say this, though. My ex-wife and I are the best of friends. She's a tremendous human being. I will never say anything bad about her. She's, she's in a difficult business. And we remain friends. I'm looking at a little poodle watch now that we're on the road. I get to talk when she goes on the road. We've had her for 10 years, so we kind of split custody of the dog, too. So, but she's a really good person. We both moved on in our lives, dating-wise and so on. But we remain friends, and I'm really happy about that. We were able to, go through a divorce with very, very little expense at all. We split everything, and there was no real fighting or arguing. It was just we both wanted to move on and not go through that and dog each other out. So we just chose not to really talk about what happened or why it happened. But it's just part of life, You grow apart and you move on. But thankfully, like I said, we remain tremendous friends.
Excellent. Is she enjoying her current run in the WWE?
That's something you probably have to ask her, but I think when we had our first run with the WWE was probably the best. Really seemed to enjoy it more then. And that's speaking not from what she told me, but just from watching it, it just doesn't seem like to me that she probably enjoys it as much as she would.
Now, one lady you also worked with in your time in the WWF, Jacqueline, recently, basically, I think must have been last week or the week before, received her release. How did you enjoy working with her?
It was okay. It was, not as much as I enjoyed working when Sable and I were in our the prime of our careers. But it was just it was a difficult time working at that time. And she was a really nice person. I never had anything bad to say about her. But probably didn't get the heat that some girls got, like Luna got tons of heat. Compared to Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this question? What are your memories of Owen Hart?
Nothing but good. He was a funny guy. I enjoyed working with him. I enjoyed listening to him. I enjoyed his BS. He was a funny guy. Make up stories, and I'll never forget, he locked me and Davey Boy Smith in a locker room one time with a padlock. They had to go get lock cutters for that. I was like, if they don't find lock cutters, we're in so much trouble. And it was just one of his funny little pranks that he would just say, I didn't do it, it wasn't me, It was always somebody else.
Another Hart brother is, we've heard nothing but good things about him. Survivor Series 97, we're going to have to ask you this question. It really doesn't center around you, but what were your impressions of the Brett and Shawn thing, and what did you see backstage?
I was actually sitting right next to Brett, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I didn't actually see the match other than, you know, obviously hearing all about it. I may have been watching some of it on the monitor, but I was getting dressed for time.
Right.
I already had my match beforehand.
Right.
And I just remember a lot of arguing and fighting, and then someone convinced that Brett just knocked out Rich or something. It's like, damn, what's going on? But I always liked Brett. You know, when I tore up my knee, I went up to Calgary to rehab it. Brett let me stay and work out at his home and everything. He was a tremendous guy. A lot of respect for Bret Hart.
I'm not sure if you've heard, but with the release of the Ric Flair autobiography, Ric's pretty much ripped into everyone that you can find that isn't working with him at the moment, and Bret was one of those people. Have you had a chance to? Basically, what are your thoughts on Ric Flair, and maybe if the comments he's made, if you know them?
The thing is, I really like Ric Flair. I love working with Ric Flair. I love traveling with him. He was funny. He was always nice to me. But he was so good at the business end of it. You know, it's hard. There's some guys that are so good at the business as far as working with they're telling the truth or not. And Rick just knew how to position himself properly. He was good at it. But to me, he was always really nice to me. And what he said about people, I don't know. You wonder why. I mean, obviously, to sell books to make money, but that's
yeah. Controversy sells, I guess. I'm not sure if there's anything going to be here, but what are your memories of working with Butterbean?
I still keep in touch with Butterbean. He's actually a friend of mine. He's fun. He's a sweetheart of a guy, man. He's like a big teddy bear, but man, does he hit hard. He's a good person.
Of course, now, tournaments are a question that have been brought up before earlier on in the interview, but you actually captured the WF Intercontinental title in a tournament where you defeated Farouk, Owen Hart, as mentioned before, and Steve Austin. So this is a multi-part question. First of all, how did you enjoy that victory?
Oh my God, that was tremendous. That's when I really felt like I was finally a part of the WWE when I finally got a title, you know?
Right.
It was, I'd get to the finals, I beat guys like Owen Hart and Stone Cold, and I think it was Billy Gunn was another guy I beat. And so it was tremendous. I beat Farouk in the finals. It was a great time, and unfortunately it wasn't going to keep the title very long, but it was a lot of fun.
And the second part of the question is submitted by listener Sean Sheridan. He wants to know, how did you enjoy working with Steve Austin, and how much credit do you take in the propelling of the Stone Cold era?
Do I take any credit of it?
Yeah.
I don't think I take any credit for what... Geez, other than taking a couple stunners for him. But, I love working with Steve. He was a great wrestler. He was really good. And we had some really good matches, too.
They started turning you heel and putting you against Sable. Was that something that you guys enjoyed doing, or were you opposed to the idea?
It was strictly forbidden. And it worked. I mean, it made her a superstar as far as propelling her, because she really became damsel in distress then.
Now, one question I just want to throw in here. When you obviously originally signed and put the idea of, Rena becoming, your valet or whatever, was the idea that she would just stay as a valet, or was it that she'd eventually, be part of the women's division?
She didn't know how to wrestle or anything, and we didn't want to get her hurt, but then they seen her do some cat fights with, I think it was Luna that really started it, and they got so much, it just took off, and it just goes, we're about to teach her how to wrestle. I worked with her doing that to help her run, at least get, do matches, And she then our first match at SummerSlam was against Goldust and Luna. She really did well. We had a good match for WrestleMania.
Right. Right. Why did you leave the WWF in late 1998?
Well, I left in support of Rena. With all the things that were happening at the time, and she was uncomfortable with what they wanted her to do. And I still had 3 years left on my contract, a huge salary, and it's something that you look back now and you wonder if you made the right decision. But I guess I did it again. If you're supporting your wife and wanting to do the right thing in life, I felt that I did it.
You seemed to resurface in 2000 on an episode of WCW Thunder in a pull-apart with Tank Abbott. Was your plan to stick around a while?
No, I didn't know if I'd be going back to wrestling or not. I was kind of, part of me wanted to, but part of me, I've been doing it for, years or 10 years or whatever it was, and I was a little burned out. And I'm really happy with my life now. 10 great years of my life, but it was time to move on. And I'm always looking for the next chapter of my life. What will next year bring Marc Mero? And not to say I would never wrestle again. I don't know. I don't really think about it too much now, but I should get away from it more and more. But as I'm getting older, I'm really keeping myself in great physical shape. It feels good. And I can still wrestle if I wanted to, but right now I just choose to really just enjoy, being retired.
If the right event, the right promoter came up to you and said, would you be interested in doing this and this, a couple of shows here and there, would it be something you'd be interested in doing then?
Yeah, I would always listen, and like I said, if the right opportunity came, you might see me back out there again. But if not, it's not going to be something that I'm going to totally regret, or I'm not something I'm hoping or praying for. It's just, like I said, I'm really content in my life right now.
Yeah, it seemed like late 2003, the bigger rumor was Vince Russo was hell-bent to get you in NWA TNA. Any truth behind that rumor, and why didn't you entertain the offer?
We have talked about it, but with my work schedule now, with my company here in Orlando, and obviously having to get to Nashville and so on, just wasn't feasible at the time.
What are your memories of the XWF?
Hopeful. I was really hoping it would have taken off, working with Hulk and guys like that. A lot of fun. I was just like Game 7 with Hulk Hogan in the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
And he's a guy who really, really enjoyed being around. He's a good person. Always takes time for the fans, and just always treated me really good.
Wow, cool.
You're, of course, speaking to one of the biggest Hulk Hogan fans in James there, by the way.
Yeah, sorry.
The converted.
Yeah, I'm always on a battle with people about why I like him so much. So.
He's a good man. He really is.
And now, one question we ask quite a lot of people who have been in the WCW in the early 90s and then WWF in perhaps the late 90s. How would you compare the two companies in terms of the way that things were run? Both of them had their turmoil and ups and downs. Obviously WWE being more successful knew how to market the wrestlers better.
Right.
But I enjoyed my time with WCW also. I would have stuck around long enough to see it get to the point where the NWO and all that took off huge. That was been a lot of fun to be a part of WCW when you see them, get to the point where they were getting unbelievable numbers and they were filling up arenas. That would have been fun.
A question we get a lot from the fans is to try to get to know the man behind the character and the man that they've seen on TV. So this is more of a personal question, but what CD is in your stereo right now?
What CD?
Yeah.
I don't even know. What CD's in my stereo right now? Oh God, it's an old Creed CD.
Cool, cool. So do you mind if we close out with some word associations? We'll give you a name, and if you have a story, you can feel free to say it. If you just have a one-word answer, that's fine, too.
Okay.
All right, first name on the list is Jimmy Garvin.
Jimmy Garvin?
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Gold Dust.
Funny as hell.
Bradshaw.
Bully.
Mick Foley.
Conniving.
Max Payne.
Hopeful.
Al Snow.
Good person.
The Rock.
Good guy.
Shawn Michaels.
Wish I got to know him better. He was in a real fog when I was there, and I wish I could know him now, where he is now.
Rena Mero.
Rena Mero?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful person.
How about
Will be my best friend.
Hulk Hogan.
Great guy. Love him.
Eric Bischoff.
Wish I was closer with him. I like him outside of the wrestling business.
David Penzer.
Always nice to me.
And the final one I've got is Vince McMahon.
You know, Dad always said, you don't have nothing nice to say about someone, don't say it at all. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, we really can't thank you enough. Thank you for giving us as much time as you have, and we'll let you get back to your business.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Stay tuned for more from the Interact.